waste your life. You don't get an unlimited number of days. You don't have forever. Every minute that slips by unused, unfocused, or thrown into meaningless distraction is a minute you will never get back. You are not here just to pass time, to numb yourself with comfort, or to coast through existence without purpose. You were born with potential, something rare, something raw, something capable of changing your life and the lives of others. But that potential is not a guarantee. It dies in those who ignore it. It fades in those who settle. It disappears in those who choose safety over struggle, distraction over discipline. You must take responsibility. That's where it begins, not in waiting for motivation, not in blaming your circumstances, not in hoping someone comes to save you. You must look at your life honestly, critically, and ask, is this the best I can do with the time I've been given? If the answer is no, then you already know what must change. You already know you're capable of more. Deep down, you've always known, and the pain of that awareness, the quiet discomfort of knowing you're not living at your highest standard, that's not your enemy, that's your call to rise. There is a cost to every choice you make, every hour spent avoiding growth, every decision rooted in fear or laziness stacks up. That cost isn't always visible immediately, but it will show itself in missed opportunities, in unfulfilled potential, in a life that never quite felt like it was yours. Don't let that be your story. Don't let regret be the thing you carry when time runs out, because it will. And when it does, you won't be able to buy it back. Start now. Wherever you are, with whatever you have, start showing up for yourself. Take small steps if you have to, but take them with intention. Build routines, set goals, hold yourself accountable. Stop letting other people's opinions dictate your direction. Stop letting fear make your decisions. You are not built for mediocrity. You were built to climb, to stretch, to grow, to rise from the ashes of who you were and become someone undeniable. But it requires effort, real effort. It requires sacrifice. It requires focus. And most of all, it requires that you stop wasting time pretending that you have more of it. Live with urgency, live with clarity, live with fire in your chest and vision in your mind. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for the perfect moment. There is no perfect moment, only now. This is your shot. This is your life. Make it count. Time is not just a number on a clock or a date on a calendar. It is your life unfolding in real time. Every second that slips by is a piece of your existence that you'll never recover. Yet people treat time as though it's infinite, as though tomorrow is guaranteed. They procrastinate on their goals, delay their decisions, and put off their potential for another day that may never come. What's often forgotten is that time, once gone, can't be earned back. You can lose money and make more. You can lose relationships and rebuild. But the moments you let pass, those are gone forever. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking you have time to waste, hours scrolling through distractions, days lost in mindless habits, years spent in environments that suppress your growth. But those minutes are not neutral. They come with a cost, because the time you waste isn't just lost in the moment. It delays your future, derails your progress, and dulls your ability to become who you're meant to be. And it accumulates silently. One wasted day becomes a week, a month, a year. Suddenly you wake up wondering where the time went and why nothing has changed. The problem isn't that life is too short, it's that we wait too long to live it fully. Most people live as though their real life begins someday in the future, but this moment right now is your real life. What you do with it shapes who you become. And if you spend it passively, waiting for motivation or the right circumstances, you'll find yourself years down the line filled with regret over the time you let slip away. There's something sacred about understanding the value of time. It sharpens your focus. It wakes you up. When you recognize that every minute is a building block of your legacy, you start choosing differently. You become more intentional. You stop tolerating things that waste your energy. You cut through the noise and pay attention to what actually matters. That's the mindset that changes lives, not grand plans or big speeches, but the quiet, disciplined awareness that time is your most precious currency. Spend it like it matters, because it does. The moment you decide to take personal responsibility is the moment your life begins to shift. It's the foundation of all meaningful change. Until you own your decisions, your circumstances, and your outcomes, without blame or excuses, you will always remain stuck in cycles that limit you. Blaming others, your past, or external conditions may offer temporary relief, but it does nothing to move you forward. Responsibility is not about fault, it's about power. When you say, I am responsible, what you're really saying is, I have the power to change this. That shift in thinking is everything. Because as long as you believe someone or something outside of you is in control of your future, you've already given your power away. You've handed the steering wheel of your life to fear, comfort, or other people's expectations. But when you claim responsibility fully, honestly, you reclaim that control. You stop waiting for motivation and start moving. You stop wishing and start working. That mindset separates the weak from the strong, the dreamers from the doers. Personal responsibility also requires brutal self-honesty. It demands that you look at where you are and ask yourself, what role have I played in this? That question isn't easy, but it's necessary, because once you see how your own patterns, habits, and choices have contributed to your results, you gain clarity. You stop pretending. You stop lying to yourself. And in that clarity, you find direction. You realize that if you created this version of your life, you can create a better one. Taking responsibility doesn't mean you won't fail. In fact, you will. But now your failures become feedback, not shame. They become stepping stones, not roadblocks. You stop fearing mistakes because you know they're part of your growth. You trust yourself to handle them. That's the kind of confidence that only comes from taking ownership, knowing that no matter what happens, you're not waiting on the world to fix it for you. You'll rise again and again because you've decided it's on you. And when you embrace responsibility fully, you stop looking outward for answers and start looking inward for strength. You become the author of your life, not a spectator. And from that place, anything becomes possible, because now the limits are only the ones you choose not to break. There is a quiet kind of pain that grows in the background of a life not fully lived. It's not the sharp sting of failure or rejection. It's the slow, suffocating ache of potential unrealized. Deep down, you know what you're capable of. You felt it in moments of clarity, in the dreams that visit you when you're alone, in the fire that sparks when you dare to imagine more. But if that potential is ignored, if you silence those urges long enough, it turns into regret. And that kind of regret doesn't fade, it haunts you. Unrealized potential is like a voice that whispers what you could have been if you had tried just a little harder, committed just a little more, believed in yourself just enough to push through the discomfort. It doesn't come from others, it comes from within. Because no one knows what you're truly capable of like you do. You carry the blueprint for something powerful inside you, and you also carry the responsibility for whether it's ever built. When you waste time, when you procrastinate, when you allow distractions to dominate your days, that voice doesn't go away, it gets louder. It shows up in moments of stillness, in the space between activities, in those late nights when you're lying in bed knowing you could have done more. That's not guilt. That's your potential trying to get your attention. It's your future self asking why you're settling for less when you were meant for more. This internal discomfort is not a flaw. It's a signal, it's a sign that you're misaligned with what you know you should be doing. And the longer you ignore it, the deeper the regret becomes. It shows up in your confidence, in your energy, in how you view yourself. Because when you consistently fall short of your own standard, it erodes your sense of self-worth, not because you're not enough, but because you're not honoring who you could be. The truth is, the pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of regret lasts. One demands effort, the other demands your peace. You choose which one you live with. You can silence that inner tension only by rising to the level of your potential, by doing the work, facing the discomfort, and refusing to let your talent rot in the dark. You were not given this life to coast through it. You were given it to rise, to stretch, to build, and to leave nothing on the table. Every decision you make carries a weight, whether you feel it in the moment or not. Most people think it's the big choices that shape their lives, where they move, who they marry, what career they pursue. But the truth is, the small, everyday decisions are far more powerful. These tiny, repeated actions are the bricks that build your future. Wake up early or hit snooze. Scroll aimlessly or open a book. Speak with intention or stay silent. These choices may seem insignificant, but over time, they either compound into a strong, disciplined life or collapse into a hollow one filled with regret. The cost of bad decisions doesn't always show up right away. It creeps in slowly. You skip one workout and nothing seems to change. Skip 10 and your energy dips. Skip 100 and your confidence erodes. That's how decline happens, not in dramatic crashes, but in the small moments you think don't matter. On the flip side, positive habits often feel unrewarded in the beginning. You eat clean for a week and there's no transformation, but keep going for a month, for a year, and you look back and realize everything is different. This is the law of compounding in your personal growth. One good decision doesn't change everything overnight, but it creates momentum. It's not about being perfect every day. It's about showing up more often than not and letting that consistency build a foundation. Each small win makes the next one easier. Each act of discipline makes the next one more natural. Soon, you're not just making good choices, you've become someone who does. What's most dangerous is thinking you can stay in place, that if you're not improving, at least you're not getting worse. But stagnation is a myth. You're either progressing or regressing. Time keeps moving, and every choice either pushes you toward your potential or pulls you further from it. That's why every decision matters, not because it's life-changing on its own, but because it sets a direction. You're either walking toward the life you want or drifting away from it. You don't need massive action to change your life. You need to take responsibility for the little decisions that shape your hours, your days, and eventually your identity. That's how you build something unshakable from the ground up, one choice at a time. When you commit to intentional action, even the smallest step forward creates a ripple that reshapes your entire path. Motivation may come and go, but momentum is something you build with discipline and direction. It's not about doing everything at once. It's about doing the next right thing with purpose. One focused action done consistently is more powerful than 100 random efforts. That is how progress is made. Deliberate, precise, and unshakable. Momentum doesn't wait for motivation, it waits for movement. And movement begins the moment you stop overthinking and start doing. The brain loves clarity and rewards follow through. When you show up consistently, your brain begins to adapt, your habits start to hardwire, and your confidence begins to grow, not because everything is easy, but because you're proving to yourself that you can handle the pressure. That kind of self-trust is rare, and it's built only through repetition. It's not flashy, but it's powerful. There's an incredible strength in understanding that you don't need to have all the answers to take action. You don't need to know exactly where the road leads. You just need to start walking. Clarity often comes through action, not before it. Most people wait for a perfect plan, but those who succeed are the ones who move, even when the way forward is unclear. Because in movement, they learn. In effort, they discover who they really are. Beauty of intentional action is that it's fully within your control. You can't always control outcomes, but you can control how you show up, what you prioritize, and how hard you're willing to work for it. That means every day is an opportunity to build momentum, not by doing everything perfectly, but by choosing progress over comfort. And the more you act with purpose, the more your brain begins to expect progress. You stop needing motivation to get moving because momentum becomes your new normal. Momentum doesn't look like intensity, it looks like consistency. It's waking up and doing the work even when you don't feel like it. It's keeping promises to yourself even when no one's watching. That's how powerful lives are built, not in bursts, but in the quiet discipline of showing up every day. And when you do that day after day, you won't just change your habits, you'll change who you are. Silence is often misunderstood as weakness, but in truth, it is one of the most powerful tools for personal transformation. When you embrace silence, you remove the distractions that cloud your thoughts and derail your energy. In a world that constantly demands your reaction, choosing not to respond immediately is an act of strength. It gives you space to observe, to reflect, and to understand your own intentions before you speak or act. Most people waste energy explaining themselves, defending their choices, or seeking validation. But when you stay silent and focus on your growth, you conserve your energy for what truly matters. Silence also keeps your momentum protected. When you share your plans too soon, you open them up to criticism and doubt, sometimes even from those closest to you. But when you move in silence, you build in peace, you grow in private, and by the time the world sees the result, the foundation is already too strong to be shaken. The quiet pursuit of purpose creates unstoppable results. Let your work speak louder than your words, and you'll find that success becomes inevitable, not because you shouted, but because you stayed silent and kept moving forward. The path to a fulfilled, purpose-driven life begins and ends with one powerful decision: to focus on yourself and move in silence. In a world obsessed with noise, opinions, and validation, the greatest transformation happens in stillness. When you choose discipline over distraction, growth over comfort, and action over excuses, you begin to unlock the strength that was always within you. This isn't about arrogance or isolation. It's about alignment, aligning your actions with your vision, your habits with your values, and your time with your priorities. You don't need to announce every step you take. Let your progress echo louder than your words. Every silent morning, every quiet grind, every uncelebrated victory is laying the foundation for a life that speaks for itself. The more you stay committed to your own lane, the less the noise of the world matters. Because in the end, it's not those who shout the loudest who win. It's those who keep going, stay focused, and refuse to quit. Keep building, keep rising, and remember, the most powerful moves are made in silence.